would like to begin with naming some of these people whose lives were cut short. I know many of them personally. Some of them were young people who went to school with me. Sabina Stedner, Junka Schweber, Junka Hagmeyer, Ruzha Volkovich, and Dita Volkovich, Tonka Meyer. Some were members of my family, such as my cousin, Mina Elberge, Pepka Wenkel, Berta Wenkel, Lola Wenkel, and Panka Wenkel. My aunt Frima Wenkel and my uncle Jancho Elberger. There were among them people who served our town in many ways. There was Dr. Rosen, who helped heal the people, the architect Maurice Schweber, who designed beautiful buildings in our town. There were tradesmen like carpenter Holtzman, who was my neighbor, as well as roofers, a tinsmith, a carriage driver, whose name I do not remember. All these people had hopes and dreams like everyone else for themselves and their children. I also want to tell you about the life in our town during the time when I was growing up. The population of Zaleshchyki was almost evenly divided among the Ukrainian, Poles, and Jews. There were little socializing and mixing between Ukrainian and Poles, and even less between the Jews and non-Jews. Nevertheless, all three groups had a lot in common. First of all, everybody loved the land we lived on. We loved the river Dniester, the high cliffs towering over the river, the blooming orchards, the chestnut trees, the black fertile soil, the wonderful summer full of music and life, and the summer tourists bringing relative prosperity to our town. This was the land of our ancestors, Ukrainian, Poles, and Jews, who for centuries lived here, worked here, produced goods, and died here. All the people, regardless of their culture or religion, shared the same fear of the unknown and the feeling of helplessness in the face of calamities. Everybody got up in the morning hoping for a good day without unexpected tragedies and unpleasant occurrences. Most people started the day with a prayer. The Ukrainian with Otche Nash, the Poles with Ojcze Nasz, and the Jews with Mój Diani. Some crossed themselves 3 times, some once only, and some turned to the eastern wall facing Jerusalem, praying to the higher power we all call God. We all asked that our wishes be granted. We wanted protection from evil and misfortunes. We prayed for the good health for ourselves and for our loved ones. We prayed for our daily bread and a bit of extra money to be able to give our children a good education and a secure trade. We all wanted our children to have a better life than their parents had. These prayers, rituals, and practices were passed on from generation to generation, from parents to their children. Each and every one thought that their way was the right way to reach the attention of the Almighty, who at the end was the only one who could protect us. While our celebration and rituals were different, our sentiments were the same. We all shared much joy during the birth of a new baby, excuse me. At the wedding of a family member and friends, we all feasted at family gatherings during various holidays. We also shared the sorrow and sadness that illness and death eventually brought to all of us. Unfortunately, life was not and continues to be full of misfortune and catastrophe. The situation in Germany after the First World War was catastrophic. Inflation, unemployment played havoc with the lives of people there. This became a fertile ground for the most evil and destructive form of government, the Nazism. In times of difficulties, the common practice is to look for scapegoats. The most frequent target were always Jews. The victims were innocent people who could not defend themselves, such as the Jews who are buried right here. The Nazis' doctrine promoted a culture of hatred that resulted in brutality, sadism, and hideous crimes against humanity. Some people profited materially by robbing and stealing from those who were helpless. They benefited from other people's misfortunes, those who were human, and who cared for the people who were persecuted, were punished by death. Here, in this earth, under our feet, are some of the victims of this monstrous regime. Okay. Now I would like to say a few words to the young people who are here. Today, our beautiful town, Zaleshchyki, is now inhabited by a new generation of people, far removed from those horrors. It is now up to you whom you will elect to govern you, what new progressive laws will be enacted, and what ethics and morals will you guide you and your children. You are lucky to be born after the horrors and depravities of those war days. The people who witnessed and committed these crimes are almost all gone. The world we live in, and the future of this land is now in your hands. You are the future generation that will be deciding what is just, what is human, and what kind of society you will build. I'm so grateful that you came out today to stand together to affirm our joint humanity and the promise to each other that we will do individually and collectively everything we possibly can to eradicate hatred and prejudice in our communities and our towns and in the world. How do we do that, you might ask? Think of the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. This rule can serve as a guiding light that will point out in the right direction. And let this monument be a symbol, a reminder, and a promise that never again will Zaleshchyki witness of such a horrendous brutality.